We exist in an era of unprecedented amplification, a relentless symphony of digital pings, scrolling headlines, algorithmic persuasion, and societal expectations creates a cacophony that permeates our physical and psychological space. This noise is not merely auditory. It is informational, emotional, and existential. It fragments our attention, fuels our anxieties, and drowns out the subtle frequencies of our own thoughts and intuitions. In this landscape, the pursuit of a quiet life is often mischaracterized as a retreat, an act of resignation or a privilege of the few. In truth, it is a profound and radical act of resistance and reclamation. To live quietly in a noisy world is to architect a sanctuary of the self, built through deliberate choices that prioritize depth over distraction, essence over echo, and inner peace over external validation. This endeavor requires a holistic strategy, addressing our environment, our habits, our minds, and our very definition of a life well lived. The first and most tangible fortress we must build is against the digital deluge. Our connected devices, while tools of immense potential, function increasingly as engines of interruption, designed to hijack our dopamine cycles and monetize our attention. The first step toward quiet is to become a ruthless curator of our digital input. This begins with a forensic audit of our notifications. Every buzz, beep, and banner is a request for your most precious resource, your focus. The vast majority should be silenced. The goal is to move from an interrupt-driven model to an intentional check model. Designate specific, limited times to process email and messages rather than allowing them to dictate the day's rhythm. Furthermore, we must reclaim our spatial and sensory environment from noise pollution. This involves cultivating physical sanctuaries. Identify or create a place in your home, a corner, a chair, a room that is dedicated to quiet activities, reading, reflection, meditation, or simply being. This space should be, as much as possible, free from screens and clutter, a visual and tactile expression of calm. The practice of domestic quiet extends to routines, instituting a digital sunset, where screens are retired an hour before sleep, and a slow morning where the first moments of the day are not offered to a smartphone but to silence. Sunlight or a physical journal can recalibrate one's entire nervous system. These rituals are not indulgences. They are the non-negotiable foundations for a centered mind. The cultivation of external quiet, however, is merely the scaffolding. The most critical and challenging work is internal. A silent room is of little use if the mind is a riot of rehearsal, regret, and restless planning. Therefore, we must train our capacity for inner stillness. Mindfulness meditation is the most direct gymnasium for this skill. By practicing non-judgmental awareness of the present moment, observing the breath, the sensations in the body, the parade of thoughts, we gradually weaken the habit of being carried away by mental noise. We learn that we are not our thoughts. We are the awareness that observes them. This creates a profound buffer between self and stress. Another powerful pathway to inner quiet is the state of flow, identified by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This is the immersive experience of being completely absorbed in a challenging, rewarding activity to the point where self-consciousness and temporal awareness fade. Whether found in gardening, writing, playing an instrument, coding, or woodworking, flow states are antidotes to fragmentation. They unify attention and silence the internal commentator. Pursuing such deep work requires protecting stretches of uninterrupted time, a practice author Cal Newport champions as essential for cognitive clarity in a distracted world. Crucially, a quiet life demands a radical reevaluation of social and cultural inputs. We must become conscious media metabolizers. The constant consumption of sensationalized news, polarized commentary, and the highlight reels of social media feeds a sense of urgency, lack, and anxiety, choosing instead to engage with long-form journalism, substantive books, nature documentaries, or art that elevates rather than agitates, nourishes the mind with nuance and perspective. Similarly, we must audit our social commitments. The pressure to be perpetually busy and socially available is a significant source of noise. the gentle but firm art of saying no to unnecessary meetings, to draining social obligations, to the fear of missing out is the language of self-respect. It protects the sanctity of your time and energy for what truly aligns with your values. This leads to the philosophical heart of the matter, redefining success. A noisy world often equates volume with value. Loudness, visibility, busyness, and constant connectivity are worn as badges of importance. To choose a quiet life is to reject this metric. It is to find value in contemplation, in the quality of your attention, in the depth of your relationships, and in the integrity of your work. However small its stage, it is the philosophy of the deep root over the broad leaf. This might mean prioritizing a fulfilling, moderate career over a high-status, high-stress one. It finds joy in the seasonal rhythms of nature, the slow unfolding of a home-cooked meal, or the silent understanding between close friends. Success becomes synonymous with sovereignty over one's own mind and time. This pursuit is not without its challenges. It can feel countercultural, even lonely at times. There will be pressure to rejoin the fray, to amplify oneself, to prove one's productivity. Therefore, seeking out or nurturing a community of like-minded individuals, even a small circle, provides essential reinforcement and reminds us that we are not alone in our desire for depth. Furthermore, embracing quiet does not mean abandoning engagement with the world's problems. On the contrary, a quiet mind is a clear mind. From a place of inner stability, our responses to injustice, suffering, or need can be more thoughtful, compassionate, and effective, rather than merely reactive and performative. Action flows from centeredness, not from frenzy. Ultimately, living a quiet life in a noisy world is a continuous practice, not a fixed destination. It is the daily discipline of tuning the instrument of the self. It is the courage to disconnect in order to reconnect with oneself, with loved ones, with the present moment. It is the wisdom to understand that not every silence needs to be filled, not every opinion needs to be voiced, and not every invitation needs to be accepted. By systematically decluttering our environments, our schedules, our diets of information, and most importantly, the narratives in our own heads, we construct an unshakable inner citadel. From this fortress of stillness, we can engage with the dynamism of the world, not from a place of depletion and anxiety, but from a reservoir of strength, clarity, and purposeful calm. We learn to hear not just the cacophony, but the enduring melody of our own authentic existence beneath it. A life not measured